Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Orange Country. Hey, Shane.
Hi.
Today,
you look good.
Thank you. I've been up since 6 a.m. I've already done some a little press. Then I took my stepdaughter Presley to middle school registration, and now we're here. So just a normal day.
You have to do so much school registration. Jesus.
So much. I know, I really do. Yeah, but this was like a big jump because it's middle school, so it's a little different. So we had to like go wait on lines and get her like gym clothes, and it was super fun actually. All her textbooks and she gets her schedule before the other kids, and she has like different teachers. She's like big time now, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I thought today it would be cool. I think we should talk a little bit about like controlling the edit. And that type of stuff as a topic, I think is people are really interested in that a lot when it comes to housewives and all that. But I think just in general, some celebrities that are put stuff out there and then try to control, or take back sometimes the things that they say, or sometimes things are taken out of context. And there's a lot of stuff I think going on right now in the country world that speak to that, specifically some of that stuff with Jason Aldean.
I definitely have been asked a lot about that. And yeah, we should talk about it.
Welcome to Orange Country.
We did some press this morning together, and that question came up. And I think it's just a matter of how it's hard because in country music, we don't talk about each other.
I know it's so different. My world is all we do.
It is so different. You're right. Oh my God, I hadn't thought about how different that is. But
can you explain to us, can you just take everybody back and explain like what the root of the issues are first? Because I wasn't even aware until we did press this morning that there were these bigger issues.
Well, what's funny is, a lot of the details are still a little bit gray to me.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the part that sort of pulled me into the conversation, or why I felt obliged to, as I say, anoint myself as sheriff of songwriters. I love to be the one who's like, you can't do that.
Love that.
But basically what happened was Jason Aldean had a song that was barely hanging on at country radio, mostly because the song itself is just, it's not great. Mm-hmm. It's something we've heard from him and others a million times, just the small town angle. And so I don't think people were really paying attention. What I noticed was in a couple of articles, people started saying things like, hey, the lyric is like, hey, you're gonna try to, I don't know, talk back to a cop, or I mean, we'd have to pull the lyrics up, but it's like, try that in a small town. The part that really stood out to me was there's a section about taking guns. And it said, oh, my grandpa's had this gun forever, and you think you're going to take my guns? You try that in a small town. I took that so personally because we just had a shooting in Nashville right down the street from my house. Mm. And I thought, imagine those parents hearing a song that so vehemently is protecting gun rights. He doesn't have to say that. Mm-hmm. Not right now, never. But he doesn't have to especially say it right now. It felt like somebody along the way, not just Jason, somebody in the camp, a manager, a record label exec, the songwriters of the song. He didn't write the song. Somebody should have said, this is poor taste. Mm. Let's try and have some semblance of a heart here that's not just for monetary gain. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard for working songwriters, and to have a song on the radio pays big money. These guys, and I don't want to just go after the songwriters. I'm not going to name anybody. You can look it up, but they've all had tons of hits. And for them to not this one time say, you know what, this is bad timing.
Not worth it.
It just feels like, come on,
Mm-hmm.
like stand for something.
Yeah.
Nobody's
stand on
taking
the
your
right side of
guns.
it. Yeah.
That's never been said.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's ever threatened to take your grandpa's gun.
Yeah.
And so it just felt really gross to me.
Yeah.
And like I said before, the most offensive thing about it was just the song is so bad. But regardless of that, again, I don't want to just be mean about that because it's easy for a songwriter to say about some other song. What has happened, so people will understand where we're at, is that the attention around it, and then they made a video that had all these different shots of, you know, people going against the cops and fighting back, and it just seemed racist. I mean, there's a lot of things in it that you'd have to pick apart, but again, I don't think the song was written with that in mind. I do not think anyone. I think it's more about going, how was it received?
Read the room, right?
Read the room.
Read the room.
That's
Yeah.
it. And if you didn't intend that, that's okay. But that's not what people are hearing. Sometimes we say something that was misunderstood. That's not what I meant. But nobody will say that. They're just saying it's not racist. You know, live with it. Suck it up.
Yeah.
This is country music. It's like, if you hurt someone, can you not say, God, I can kind of see where that would hit you. I can see where maybe right now it's not the best thing to talk about protecting gun laws right after these kids were killed.
Right.
And the next level is Jason Aldean was the one on stage in Vegas when 70 people died.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you read the room? So that's where we're at.
The Route 91. You know, Travis's kids were there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. They were not supposed to be, but they were. Yeah. Sad.
I mean,
scary. I mean, I get it. It's like retrospectively, they could at least just give, you know what, that was insensitive and not good timing and in poor taste. And also right now, I just think the time of our country overall it's very sensitive on all sides.
Yes.
And that is not helpful.
It's not helpful and it's not necessary.
Right.
This was not a necessary move. And probably our conversation about it could be received the same way. Like, well, who anointed you? The sheriff of songwriters, like I said before. But it's not.
I'm gonna get you a star.
Yeah, I want a
I'm
really
gonna get you
shiny
a star.
Oh, Gina, I have gotten myself in so much trouble, like calling people out for plagiarism or for, and it's songs that don't even have anything to do with me, where I'm like, you can't do that. It's ridiculous.
So you are the sheriff.
I'm the sheriff, and you know what? Deal with it.
We're going to get you a really legit, it's going to be a pen holder.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's a
firearm.
No.
Fancy pen.
I definitely do not want a gun for the sheriff.
Shiny star pen. Love it.
So that's that little note. I don't want to not have fun. This is about fun and about heart and about us, building people up. But since a lot of people have been asking about that, that's what it was about. The other thing real quick to add is that the song shot to number 1 on the Hot 100s. It's his first number 1 on the Hot 100. And I mean, here we are giving it more attention. So,
well, it is right. And it's a difficult thing because it's like sometimes things that are in poor taste or that are more sensational or push boundaries or offensive do gain popularity. So it's become, and in my world too, right? It's become what's like if you're the most ruthless or you say the sometimes that's an express to the top. I hate that. I don't love it and I don't respect it, but you can't deny that that's actually a route and a lot of people take it. So, you want to believe that it's hard, and that's difficult because I would have given grace if it was just, oh, it was a song and in poor taste. And looking back, you can totally see how that could be misconstrued or whatever. But then the doubling down and the not taking responsibility is where I'm out. You take responsibility.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I don't think it was intentional, but now it feels it.
Yeah.
And, so
why make it worse?
So yeah, that's that. And let's talk about controlling the edit.
That seemed to have that needed more control. You're right. His people needed to be controlling that edit, and they did.
Yeah.
We deal with it. We deal with it a lot on the show. I think probably one of the biggest things that we have to deal with is a lot of the women, usually the more seasoned women, they try to control their own narratives and they try to produce a lot. And it just never really works that well, honestly. It shows the fans are actually really smart. The viewers are smart and they see through a lot of the BS. So the old days of them conjuring up little stories within themselves or whatever are over. And honestly, I just think it's far more interesting when we show up as a group and we're just really having conversations and you give us a little bit of time. It's inevitable that one of us is going to piss the other one off or say the wrong thing or say something funny and interesting. And it doesn't have to be forced. I think this season we also dealt, it's hard because the job is to be yourself and share your life. But when you're doing that constantly and then you feel like there's other people who are not doing that or they're hiding things or they're portraying parts of their life that they should be open and sharing and they're trying to not let people see those things, it's not only detrimental to the show, to us as a cast, but also to them because people don't like that. They don't like when you're full of it, So that has definitely, I think but some of them are still hanging on. So I don't know.
I don't know either. And have you ever felt like the edit was not fair?
Okay, yes. One time I felt like the edit was not fair. It's not going to be something that you necessarily are expecting or sensational, but I did think this was complete bullshit. I'll be honest. It was a scene. We were in Key West on a trip, and do you remember watching where I saw there was a shark that came?
Yes.
Okay, that was all very accurate. I was literally shitting my pants, begging them because they're on a boat with the cameras, begging them, can I come in the boat? Can I come in the boat? But there was literally a shark, so there was nothing I could do. And I was clinging to that starfish. But before that, when we were jet skiing out there, I jet skied like a badass. And I really got the hang of it quick because I figured out very quickly, either you figure this out or you're going in the water. So in 10 minutes flat, I was a professional jet skier. And I was they're going to show me, I'm going to look like a Bond girl. I was trying to I was literally trying to arch my back more to think I looked hotter on this jet ski. And then they were savages and they made it look like I couldn't ride it. And it was put. And they made me look like such a loser. And I was that is inaccurate.
Did they do that for comedy?
Yes. And it was hysterical. Yeah. It was hysterical. But I was hello, when you're proud of yourself for actually doing something you never thought you could really do. And then they show the lame version of yourself that you thought you were going to look like. It was Instagram versus reality, but opposite. Yeah. It was not fair.
That's funny. I actually think some of those things really make people fall in love with you. So I think that sort of, I don't know, Lucille Ball sort of.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I think that's what people love about you. So I think
that was okay.
What they were doing with that edit was continuing this sort of bubblehead idea about Gina. And
they were bitch, just because you rode a jet ski one time doesn't mean you're going to get credit for that. You still are who you are. We're going to show how it should have went.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's how it probably could have gone. And, you also have a bit of competitive edge about you. And I think sometimes it's like, wait a minute, I did this better than anybody. Don't show me looking like an idiot. I personally love when the very rare times that like my husband or kids will catch me doing something. When I say it's rare, I do stupid stuff all the time. The reason it's rare is because I'm always the one videoing everybody.
Oh my God, I know. That's so frustrating.
I'll be like, hey, I just tripped or I did something stupid. Take this camera and I'm going to recreate it now for my story. Which again, it doesn't ever
the reenactments
work or happen.
Are never.
That's the edit. I mean, the truth is that doesn't work. People see through that, and we see that on social media now. And the things that work are genuine mishaps. And
100%. Yeah, when I try really hard, it's never.
Wait, what'd you say?
When I try really hard, like I'll spend time like thinking this is going to be hysterical, and those are the ones that don't go. And then when I'm just like aggravated walking out of the house and I'm like flinging something up there because I'm like complaining about my kid or whatever, those ones go viral. And I'm like, oh, if I only thought. I just have to be better about being a person who just turns the camera. I'm always behind on everything too. I'm like, I didn't do a happy birthday to Luca on Instagram. I didn't do a happy birthday to Travis on Instagram. Like it just becomes like a full-time job. And I love just actually living my actual life. I wish I could afford someone to just follow me around.
Hey, I honestly feel the same way about like when it comes to Instagram, which mine is so much less watched than yours and other people. But we've talked about like Marissa or Molly or somebody doing it for me, but I'm too controlling. It's like, I really want it. Yeah. I want it to look the way I want it to look. And I just want to show the things I want to show. And that's why I would not be good on Real Housewives. As much as I would love to think I could be a lot of fun on there, I like the angle the way I want it. And I don't want, things messed up in the background. And so, and that's, I guess you get over it.
You know what's interesting? I think some people are built one way and some people are built another way. I think I would definitely say that me being sort of over it when I was even born into this, meaning I don't really give a shit, has been helpful to me. Like, but
it's absolutely been helpful. Otherwise, you would be up all night looking at the episode going, God, why did I not do this? And I'm not even talking about you and the way you look. I'm talking about your kids coming through the frame. I'm talking about what your house looks like in the background. I'm talking about the makeup. And it's like, I feel like I would be have so little control of that. I would like to do that. I mean, maybe something like that would be good for me because you do. I mean, the brief time I did Songland, I remember thinking, I would see myself sometimes on camera and think, but sorry, it's done.
Yeah, but also that's not that bad because at least with like Songland, you're always sitting in this seat, in this lighting from this angle. So like that, like I know when I go and watch What Happens Live, I'm going to look great because that stage, man, that lighting, those chairs, they got it going on. So like those things I don't ever really worry about, but you have to let it go because the reality is you're showing up to a lunch, you're going to sit in a chair there and like, but now it is becoming harder and harder. Like people are so much more judgmental, but they forget like what that's like. Like we're humans, we come in, we sit down. Like that's what real people actually look like from weird angles. Like everything on Instagram is from like the perfect angle. Like if my Instagram was just my mirror selfies, I would, that's great. I'm the best thing since sliced bread, but it's you don't have control of all that stuff. And then like, I like to post pictures unedited a lot too. And then like all the Bravo content, those photos for the most part are pretty much unedited. And I think that a lot of the women do struggle with that, with having to post pictures of themselves with like just their actual faces and not edit them and filter them.
And at this point, we're so numb to the edit. We're so numb to the filter. But it's hard to post a picture that looks totally natural. And this for me is why. If I look 100% natural, my thought is that the person looking at it thinks I edited it and that is edited. So,
Wow.
does that make sense?
Yeah, but
So
you're really in your head about that.
Oh, I mean, this is where I live. What are you talking about? Where else is there? I mean,
It's your
how
permanent
else
residence.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking up so much space.
Shit.
I should pay myself a lot of rent. No, but
Seriously.
I mean, I just think, and I will say, I mean, I am in my head about a lot of things. That's just my thought. We are so used to it. And so I do think people are pulling back from that. I think that, and I'm actually trying to pull back from it. Oh my God, I've looked at pictures of my kids when they were little. They look like cotton candy heads. I mean, I made my kids' eyes a different color.
Oh,
and,
you did not.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know. I knew what I was doing, but I remember my sister would be like, the kids look strange in these pictures. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything. So defensive. I didn't touch them. So I'm not doing them anymore because it's weird. And I know it's weird. And I apologize. Look, this is, I messed up. That was so stupid.
I'm glad we're here where you cannot do that anymore because that shit is weird. It's
real weird when it's your kid.
Filtering your children. No.
Well, it shows how much of my validation and self-esteem is wrapped up in like my daughter's looks.
Well, I actually think it's wrapped up a lot in your mama because that is what pressure that was put on, from coming, it all comes down. And so but it's really good and powerful that you've looked at that and identified that and said, you know what, maybe I shouldn't perpetuate that.
Thank God my mom didn't have the ability to edit us. The filter. Can you imagine?
You'd never be able to leave the house because the expectation would be so freakishly high.
I guess the filter that she did was like putting us in a tanning bed when we were 12 years old.
That is insane. Literally.
Oh, the poor woman. I mean, she hears these and thinks,
no. Is she listening to that?
Her defense is always like, oh, I was the worst. She's so fun and so great.
I love
But
her.
it was a different time and people did things differently. But yes, I certainly come by it honestly. Yeah. And I'm really trying to as my daughter now enters the age that you understand where she wants to pick out her own clothes. We went to Taylor Swift a couple of nights ago and she was picking out her outfit. I actually took her shopping for it. Oh my God, she has no taste. It's like whatever the craziest hat was, whatever the craziest shirt was, whatever the craziest pants were, and whatever the craziest shoes were. And I was like, babe, like one of these things will work. And then, she's such a doll. I mean, I love her so much. And she actually is, she gets it. Like that it's for fun.
Well, that is what it's for, like all the fashion. That's why I'm like, wear what you want, like be weird. I don't care. And like, honestly, that's the only way they figure it out too. I don't want my kids to come to me grown ass adults and I still have to help them pick out their damn outfits. Like I'm trying to get off the clock here, Yeah. So I'm all about independence. I'm like, okay, well, today you look like slightly homeless, but you're going to get there.
Well, what's funny is how little girls are so drawn to things that look sparkly or like have a frill or what do you call it?
A texture?
Something like that.
Bells and whistles.
Everything, and everything she picked out looked like a prostitute. I was like, she doesn't understand. She's so little that she doesn't yet get when something looks slutty. It's more about like, oh, that's shiny. Or, oh, that, like I said, has a puffy sleeve or the skirt is shorter than it should be because she's a little girl. She doesn't think about that. So anyway, but the thing is she doesn't look so little. And so when she wears those things, I feel like people are like, oh my God, you're the dad walking around with this little miniature toddlers and tiaras. So
like she's working for an hourly rate situation.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Not good.
And I mean, let's be honest. If she can, no, that joke isn't going to work. I'm going to have to edit that. I started playing it in my head. It's not going to work.
We're crossing lines. We're crossing lines.
Yeah.
Boundaries are being broken.
Did you know she didn't even know her nor her brother knew we were even doing this because they don't have social media or anything. And someone mentioned it to them. And they're like, your dad's podcast. You should listen to it. He talks about y'all the whole time.
Oh my God, I love it. We should have them on one day, our children. It would be fun.
Oh, I couldn't control that. Maybe if I had control of the edit.
We do. This is our podcast. You're not going to hear any fuck ups here.
I'll tell you what I need is AI versions of my kids, and then I can just say what I want them to say.
We should have a marionette day. We'll do puppet versions of them.
That's funny. That would be great. Good. What when it comes to the edit of the show, I have another question.
Okay.
So Shannon is always sort of portrayed as like, falling apart, like at her, whatever happens. I mean, she's just kind of comes in as a wreck.
Yeah.
And she, what's funny is how different she was in the beginning. I saw an old episode on the other day. She's unrecognizable.
I know. It is. It's a big difference.
It's not just her looks.
Yeah.
The way she moves, the way she talks. She very much like started out as this, like, she was, a philanthropist living in this giant house
right.
with David and the girls. And, when her and Heather have that big fight about, and how offended she is, that it was either somebody, she was not going to do charity or Heather was going to do, I don't remember. But it was just, she is so different when she's giving a tour of her house. And she also looks totally different. But it's especially just the character. And I guess that happens when you start seeing what works to some degree.
I don't know. I think she also has gone through, I would say she definitely has gone, because she's gone through life transitions on the show, right?
That's true.
And
I
have gone through and listen, she's not my favorite person, but I like being fair. And I do think that having been on the show now for 5 seasons, I think if people look at me now, and I hear it all the time, they think I'm very different now too. It's just more, obvious that it's because I have gone through a major life transition and I was on one side of it and now I'm on the other side of it. With Shannon, I think it's a little more confusing, but I do think, because I watched it back then and I know what you're talking about, that I do think that was like, I think about her, she was in this marriage, she was like a total tight ass and like all that, but that, it's like that was her in a bad marriage, a failing marriage that like, she didn't even maybe necessarily know that she was trying to keep it together. And but she was just trying to keep it together.
And maybe I'd like to ask you this question too, if I haven't already. Maybe, were you guys completely oblivious that your marriages were in trouble when you came on the show?
Well, I wasn't, because Matt had all that had happened like a year prior.
And did you think it was not going to come out?
I'll be honest, I was that naive that I did not, it's like this all happened so fast and it happened in 2 months. And then, there was a small possibility that I knew it could, I guess. But also I was at a place in my life where I was thinking, but should I give up an opportunity because you made a poor decision? And I don't think I fully even had time to think all of that through. But I also, had no understanding of the entertainment industry and also like, every year social media gets bigger and bigger. The technology is growing. There's more platforms and more social media platforms and more digging.
Yeah, it's impossible now. Like it's even bigger from when you were first on the show. Do you think Matt not wanting to do it was because he was afraid it would come out?
100%. It was a huge part of it. Yeah, I think so. And I think that was a valid fear.
But you didn't pick that up then because you didn't know. I mean, it was just like, you just thought he didn't want to.
I even knew. I knew, that was a fear of his, but I didn't know, number one, if he really
Did he say that
be.
To you? So is the reason? Did he say,
as one of the reasons,
that's going to come out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were protecting his job, because that was taking care of my children financially. You know what I mean? Not everybody is in a position where it can just be so, oh, well, who cares? He did the wrong thing, so you should just do it anyway. It's like, no, because I have 3 kids and I was mindful of that, and I was terrified of that, and I didn't want that to happen. When it first all came out, this is really real and this is sick, and I know it doesn't make sense, but this is the truth of it. When I first went and filed for divorce from Matt, I did it thinking, because I started to hear whispers that were coming out about his affair. And in my head, I thought, well, if we're divorced, then he can't lose his job because then nobody will care. No, he's not on the show and he's not married to me and his life will just go on. And for me, that was literally a part of my thought process. And the reason I pulled the trigger initially to file for divorce was to protect my kids and what financially was their security and their roof over their head and how we were taking care of our life. And I thought to myself, wow, now I have taken this opportunity. And if this does get public and he does lose his job, how are we going to take care of our kids? You know? And so that was a desperation move from someone who, you know, was out of realistic options. And that was the only thing I could think of. And, you know, I pulled the trigger on that, but I didn't actually even think we were really going to get divorced. We were trying to work on it. And I don't think I was even at a point in my life where I really could completely realistically fathom actually being divorced. Because the way I grew up, we just don't think about that. It's like not really... wasn't really a plausible option. Plus, there's so much that goes through your head too. Like I was thinking like, oh, you know, I only had been on the show for 5 seconds. So I didn't even, you know, I wasn't like, oh, I'm famous now or anything. I didn't even really understand fully what was going on. And so I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do? You know, I haven't worked in a couple years. I moved across the country. I have these little babies. Like he's going to continue on. He's going to have this career. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to have nothing. You know, there's so many things that go through your head. And there were so many things that were going through my head at that time. But what I can tell you is for whatever reason, my instinct from the beginning up until now has always been protect my family, do what's in the best interest of my family. And I think that you have always seen that come through in the show. That is a pattern that is just natural for me. And even to the extent where it was like holding him accountable for some of the stuff that he did, I got myself to that mindset where I really truly believed I need to hold him accountable so that he takes responsibility for this, so that he changes. And then that's what happened. So, you know, I can't and nothing... I could have chose to try to control the edit. I suppose the first season, I can be accused of that, of controlling the edit there a bit because the women were coming at me and they wanted me to expose this affair and whatever. And in my mind, I was like, because they were like, well, that has to be the reason that you're leaving him. In my mind, I'm thinking, no, that happened over a year ago. We've worked on that and I've tried to move past that. And now where I'm at right now is I believe that really the reason we're breaking up ultimately is because we're just not compatible. And they always say that too, right? An affair is just a symptom of a problem.
Yeah. It's funny. They deal with this over on the New Jersey Housewives with a girl named Jennifer Aiden. I don't think you know all of them. Maybe
I know Jennifer Aiden because she's from Long Island. Yeah.
Okay. Well, she drives me batshit crazy.
I know. I have to love her because she's from Long Island, but I get it.
Well, here's why. It's much like what you're talking about, except you just explained that your first season you really were trying to control it, but at the same time it wasn't so old. I mean, her husband had an affair a decade ago, and the thing was that she is always calling out other people, always setting up other situations where people they've talked about Melissa Gorga having an affair, and they've talked about the fact that oh my God, what is wrong with
Teresa?
The blonde Margaret. That she had an affair, which she's totally open about, and they love to go in after this. This is a girl who's hiding the secret all these years that her husband had an affair, and so when it comes out, she's like, this has ruined my kids' lives. But no, she's never said, God, I really had that coming. And so that is why it's, as a viewer, it's like so frustrating. But I don't do
that's the thing is I share my shit, and I don't dig up anybody else's. I don't feel the need to do that. I don't feel the need to pick at that. I just let that ride, but it does become increasingly difficult to deal with people who are constantly trying to pick at your shit or shit they hear. Because, part of this job too is now there's always going to be rumors and gossip and fake news and people that you don't even know aren't even a part of your life, but yet somehow they're contacting your cast members to tell them your secrets when it's like, I didn't even know that was a secret I had.
Who are these press people? Like when they say, "Oh, the press," I'm just like, who? Because
the bloggers.
They do that in New York a lot. New York has this whole Page 6. They went to the
those
press.
really are press people. That really is the media and the press. I think that you can. I've developed some relationships with some of the media people, and but it's normal. I would never, and I'm just not like that. Like I'm not going to go in on somebody's family or their secret unless I know it firsthand. I'm not talking about it.
I really don't think people understand. Even I have a hard time sometimes as we become better friends, really accepting the fact that you really aren't like
shitty person
going to the quote press, looking yourself up to see if anyone's talking about you. That's real. And I think you're a very, very rare exception to that rule. And, I just don't think most of them are telling the truth about that. And there's no real way of knowing that unless I know the person. But I just realized that when you'll tell me like, I don't know, I haven't heard that. I'm like, Gina, really? You have not heard this? You have not read this? And you just haven't. I mean, you have other things to deal with. And I think that you guys have fun. I've actually wish that I was just thinking that the real identity of Orange County is that you guys are having fun. And when y'all had that whole water part,
oh my God,
the slip and slide over at Emily's mother-in-law. What's her name? Tootie?
Perry.
Perry. She looks like a tootie.
She does look like a tootie. She's great. I love Perry.
She's a cutie. She is a cutie.
She's very sweet. They always include me in their family stuff, and I think that's very kind of them. They have the most phenomenal parties like ever, and I get invited to them. So that's very nice for me.
That was fun watching that. Plus Marissa showed up a couple times in it. And
oh my God, I know.
That was
everybody
fun for
thinks
me
she's
watching.
my little sister.
She, could be for sure.
I know.
I saw Emily on Watch What Happens Live, and she looked so good.
I know. She looks incredible. She really does.
And I really appreciate her saying she was on Ozempic. I still get a little annoyed that people feel like they have to go, it was only for a month. It was only for 2 weeks. It's just like, what? Who cares?
I know.
But regardless, she looks amazing. I'd love to have her on here.
She would totally come on. I know. And yes, she does look amazing and she deserves that. And look, I know my friend and I know that she has worked out very hard and very diligently for a long time.
Oh, yeah,
and at a certain point, you get to the point where you can only do what you can do. Plus, she has a career and she has children and all that. And she's still trying and she deserves to look a certain way and feel a certain way about her body. And I'm very happy that she's finally able to get there after we do all this other crazy shit, right? Too. It's I've dipped in, I would wear a cool sculpting suit if I could, if they offered a head to toe cool sculpting suit, I would be 100% in on that. And I don't understand what the difference is between that or.
It's not, there's no difference. Have you done cool sculpting?
Yes, I love it.
Oh my God, I hate it.
So this is the thing. It doesn't work for everybody, right? So for me, I had really good experience. It hurts.
Wait, was it not so incredibly painful?
It is, but then you just go numb and then you can't feel anything. It's like when you're about to be like, I can't. Numb.
They would have to put me out if I ever did it again. I'm telling you.
Seriously?
I have never had pain like that. I don't know if it was, I've told this to people and they're like, really? When it comes to vanity, you know what? I'll take it. I don't care. Put the needles in there. Do whatever it is. You think you'll make me look better? I can take it. Cool sculpting, I had to stop. I was like, it's not worth it. I was yelling to the point that the nurse was like, dude, people can hear. She didn't say dude. She didn't talk like that. She said, sir. The people in the waiting room, like, you're going to have to. I'm like, how is everyone not screaming? It was like, ah!
Oh,
like
my God.
You know, when they come with you at that paddle to like, it's like a paddle to like,
it's like a
move
Hoover.
it around.
The
or
worst
whatever.
is, when they are working it out after they take it off and it looks like a block of butter.
That's what I'm talking about. It was the working it out. The compression thing and pushing it together.
Yeah,
I was
that
okay
hurts. That does hurt.
But it went, but the afterwards where they were moving it so it didn't look like a big stick of butter.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I have never felt anything like that. It felt like I was being shocked.
Yeah,
by like
unpleasant.
A prodder.
Yeah.
And sometimes I watch people doing plastic surgery like or liposuction on, because I think about things like that and then I watch the way they do it.
I don't like
so
that.
rough.
Yeah.
They're just like,
right. They're like, yeah, I know. I don't like that either. I'm like, can't you be gentle? Like minimize the amount of trauma to that area, right?
Gina, and they're being recorded.
Slow?
Imagine what it must look like when no one is watching.
I can't imagine.
If that's what it looks like when someone's recording it, it terrifies me. I'm like, it looks like an animal laying there.
I know. That's why I am all about non-invasive stuff. Like that's where I'm at right now. I don't like the idea of cutting things off or pulling and stapling. And I just don't like the thought of that yet. I'm not saying I'm against it or opposed to it in the future, but like, I don't have it in me at the moment. So I like the non-invasive stuff. And to me, I don't know if we've talked about this before or not, but I do think that it is very interesting that when it comes to the Ozempic and this shot, right? I am shocked that so many people had such an issue with taking the vaccination that might have saved your life, right?
Yeah.
And there were so many like women and men who were like, absolutely not. You're not making me take that. I don't know what's in it. Da-da-da-da-da. But now there's like line around the block. Everybody's like, oh, wait, I'll lose weight. No problem. Done. Isn't that weird?
What an incredible thread to pull together. I never thought about that. You're so right. I mean, that vaccination thing just became political. People had just decided, I'm not doing this as the government. I agree. And honestly, when it comes to losing weight, all bets are off. And
it's a lot of the same pool of people who would not get a vaccine, that you were, you're like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, you'll save my grandma. And you're like, hell no. But now you're like first in line for Ozempic.
I mean, I was very much pro-vaccine. So, I wasn't necessarily saying no to that, but I'm saying when it comes to losing weight, if
let's correct that. So you were not one of those people then, because there is definitely a big population of people right now who were so anti that, but who will take Ozempic. And I'm not even judging. I'm just pointing it out. No. Right? No, it's weird.
It's very weird. And I don't think, we actually had our kids vaccinated early. And we didn't tell people because a lot of people were judging. Even family members were like, I'm not doing that. That's fine.
Yeah.
We decided to, we felt good about it. And now,
like, whatever.
All these years later,
you're okay.
It is what it is, whatever anybody thinks.
When they're 20,
my daughter does have a third ear. It's great. She can hear better. And so I felt like the vaccine was a win. But when it comes to Ozempic, I've got her on that too.
Got to start them young. But at least you're not filtering them anymore.
No, I'm not filtering. I don't have to.
Progress.
I don't have to. I've got them pumped through full of all these things.
They're walking filters now. We kind of all are with the Ozempic. It's no joke, huh? People lose
can you believe
bones?
What I can't believe is that all these people that have lost weight at this exact time are trying to say that's not how they lost it.
I know. And why do we even care? Who cares? It's like, we figured it out. After 20 plus years of feeling overweight, it's like now they take this shot and they finally figured it out. And I did see a woman say that, and I I like to play both sides of it, right? I totally understand. Some people it feels like cheating or whatever, but the bottom line is a lot of people who really do struggle with their weight and their self-esteem, like not everybody just gets good genetics and that's it. And then it's like they've done Jenny Craig, they've been on, Weight Watchers, like they've tried like the cool stuff, like everything that they can, the diet, the exercise and everything in between. And then they finally find something and it works. And now that's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be interesting to see as everybody is able to lose weight. It'll be interesting to see how, once everybody becomes thin, then it's going to be like, it's going to be in to be curvy again, which that has come along with the Kardashians and J-Lo. The curvy thing is always popular, but the truth is everybody just wants to be thin.
Bones, starving.
And that's been going on for such a long time, and I'm with you. I think if it makes people feel better, I feel better when when we were on our trip around the world last year. I love looking at the videos because you can tell when I was in a country for a few weeks where I loved the food. And then you could tell when we were in Asia and I got so thin because if there wasn't a McDonald's, I just could not find food.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah, and it was actually great. It was like a natural Ozempic. You're just traveling and there's just nothing to eat.
You're just starving.
For me, and I know people love the food in Asia. I love American Asian food. Okay.
Well, there's a huge difference, right? Between American food and every culture of actual real food it's American. Everything we have in America is still Americanized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's basically, my kids, they thought they were going to go to a country full of hibachis. And,
I can't, Dad. What is it like?
I felt, oh my God, we went to this one place that was super expensive. It was this whole experience. And everybody's like, you have to do this. But Gina, I still am so mad about it. Because I'm so entitled as an American to be like, look, we don't like this. I'm going to need you to bring out some chicken fingers. And it was like a lot of gels and a lot of like fish that looked still totally intact. Like they reached into an aquarium and laid the fish.
Oh.
And I don't mean like an aquarium. I don't mean like a big aquarium. I'm talking about a house aquarium. I'm talking about look like Nemo laying on a little gelatin.
Stop it.
And yeah, it's not for me. And
how do you eat? How
I didn't know what anything was.
That?
What's that?
They just pick it up with chopsticks and.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's a delicacy. But we paid $1,000 for the meal, and I'm like, we did not eat one thing.
Oh my God.
I would dip my chopsticks in the gel and taste it. It's like Jell-O, but it's not sweet. It's like Jell-O, fish Jell-O.
We need to include pictures of this food. Do you have pictures of this cuisine?
I didn't take pictures of it, but I remember my son just being like, this is not, and I couldn't be mad at him. I was like, I'm not eating it. So
I'll tell you what, my son would have eaten everything. He eats crickets. We made the shrimp with the heads on. He sucks the eyeballs out of the shrimp heads. He eats the weirdest shit, my son.
I would actually think my son would be into that just because he's such a boy and he's like, I'll do it. But no, when it comes to food.
He draws the line at the food.
Yeah.
Well, your kid's a real boy. Like Nick's not like a tremendous boy in a lot of ways, but he's he does love creatures and eating weird stuff. That is all. And I have to say that. And I know this is like whatever we're supposed to do, like all the genders and stuff, but that's got to be some boy shit right there. That
feels almost sciencey.
He is. He's a big science kid. Yeah. Yeah. He's
where it's not weird to, try those things.
It's interesting to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to a lot of people, right? But like also you're a little so hungry. So I get it.
I mean.
No disrespect. I'm just going to starve to death. Yeah.
I was so hungry. I was just so hungry.
I would
And-
love to have traveled the world with you just to like have you narrating that trip alone. Would have been
Yeah,
so
I
like
mean,
to be in that restaurant and
there
hear how
was
you had to
some-
like get that food like away and request a chicken finger. If I can only
Well,
be
I
there
was
for
so
that.
mad at the people
Yeah,
serving
you
it to me
cannot
because
be-
I just kept going, you don't like this. There's no way this is substantial. You are not telling me that this fish jello is something you and your kids go out for. I'm sorry. No, I don't believe you.
I'll tell you what, none of them are on Ozempic.
They definitely do not have to be.
No. So maybe that is the secret.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I will say the caloric intake of these meals,
Very, very low. Very low.
it was like soup, gelatin with a fish laying on it. I mean, that's,
foam.
hell yeah, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because you don't, we get so much food at our restaurants here. It's just stupid.
gross.
And, you just keep eating the bread and
What's your favorite
Everything.
genre of food?
bread.
Oh, just like a quick. It's not like Italian or
We-
Mexican, just bread.
We judge a play. I say we. It's my kids and me. My husband has a much more. He has a more sophisticated palate.
He sat
That's
at a
the
separate
word.
table.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
he gets so annoyed with me because he's like, "You're just adding to this with the kids. Like you have to make them think it's okay." And I was like, "It's not okay.
It's not okay.
This is not okay."
It's
But-
not okay.
But my kids and I are basically we rank a restaurant off of how good the bread is.
Okay.
And so Cheesecake Factory for us,
Oh,
the brown bread, it's like that's why we go there.
Number one.
And now we're living the closest Cheesecake Factory to where we live now is like 40 miles. We used to live right by one in Nashville. And it will go out of the way. And I know how
Totally.
ridiculous that sounds to people, but that's who we are.
they do have the Cheesecake Factory bread at the supermarkets, though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh my God,
Which
yes.
is- maybe
They
that's good that
definitely
we
have it
didn't
at
know that.
Stater Brothers, I believe Pavilions. I also do, I don't know how far they will travel, but I regularly DoorDash Cheesecake Factory because the Linda's chocolate fudge cake is my favorite cake of all time there. So I
Really?
I DoorDash it. And yes, the brown bread, the best bread ever.
And the butter.
The butter.
Why is it so good?
I know. I
It's just the
always eat
butter that everybody
Travis's.
has, but it just tastes good in there. It's a
'Cause
little
it's
bit
in that
cold. You have to wait
palate.
for it to melt on the bread.
Yeah.
So that's my palate of like how good a restaurant is. I mean, I know that's sad, but a lot, I work with a lot of people who are, especially in the music business, people love a big fancy meal. They love it. That's how you show, an artist that you're impressed and that you want to court them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my way. It's
That's
like,
okay.
I really want to just have some good bread. I love a tortilla chip too. Anything that comes before the food, because I'm always hungry when I sit down.
Okay.
So that's what I like.
That's good though. That's good that you know that and that you have that.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad this is where our topic has gone. We're controlling the edit. It's bread. You know what? Since we're all over the place, I got to tell you a story
We
about
are.
Taylor Swift because I know I mentioned that we went.
Please do.
She, first of all, the show's amazing. I am not a proclaimed Swiftie. I very much respect what she does, especially
Mhm.
as a songwriter. She blows my mind. I think when we are 50 years from now, people will look at the body of work and she will be right there with all the great songwriters, Carole King, James Taylor, John Mayer. But this show was so mind-blowing, the people in that room and what it felt like to experience that. But I have to just say something she said that was so meaningful to me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So she says, after a song and everybody's going crazy, she said, look, this is night 5 of 6 in Los Angeles. Can you believe that? 6 nights of 70,000 people a night.
She does it like every day. The cardio alone, my God.
Yeah. So, I don't even know how she's standing. And she said, everybody's been calling me. They're worried about me. This is 3.5 hours a night. Is my voice okay? Can they bring me anything? Am I tired? And she said, I've been waiting my whole life to play 6 nights at a stadium in Los Angeles. I am not tired.
That's awesome.
And it just knocked me out because I feel like I know and work with so many young artists who get overwhelmed very easily. And look, sometimes that's a mental, she's built for it.
Mm-hmm.
She's different. But I just have to point that out because I do feel like there's a different thing generationally that, and even though she's very young, she came up in it and she was so young when it started. And I remember early on her playing the arena in Nashville and she stood and met every person that wanted to meet her. It was 8 hours after the show. I mean, she was there the whole night. And so just seeing that, she's spreading that. It's like, this is my dream. I am on fire for this. Thank you for coming. I'm going to work my ass off for you. You know, and she acknowledged multiple times how hard it was for people to get tickets, for what it meant for people to bring their families, to park, to get food. She acknowledged this. And I just thought it was great. And whatever people think of her and whatever people say, because she's so famous, so there's going to be stories on both sides.
Yeah.
But I thought what she put off in that room, I'm so glad my daughter saw it.
That's amazing. I love her. I love everything about her. And I think she's a very hard worker. And I think that's so great because that's infectious too. And I think we forget. The toxicity and the negativity has become overpowering, and everything is about that, and that is the slippery slope, and that is infectious, and that then everybody becomes so negative and so entitled, and they don't want to work for anything. They want to complain about everything.
Well, and it breeds that too. I mean, it's like you say you're tired. We've talked about this. You get what you say.
Yes.
And I was talking to my therapist about it the next morning, Carla, who also should probably be just acknowledge that so much of what I say, it comes from her. So Carla should be another character in this podcast.
Well, we'll have to have her on.
Yeah, we could, but she said the thing about being tired, because I was like, God, I'm just like so amazed she has that much energy. And she's like, well, because she's decided she has that much energy. She's not, I bet you every night.
She's fueled by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh, I didn't sleep last night. I didn't get good sleep. So for me, it's a disclaimer if I'm not my best. This is why. And but the truth is, getting up and saying, like even today, I mean, we had press earlier. You have to drive to another location to do this. I have people coming in.
Yeah.
Where, it's like, and I'm still a complete idiot when it comes to setting all this stuff up. I mean,
well, we're always going to be that.
The people that help us do this. Yeah. I mean, it is a damn miracle that we get these things recorded. And
we love Justin and Morgan and Marissa and Georgia and Molly and Robert and Kelsey.
They're
everybody
literally dealing with 5-year-olds when it comes to this. For some reason, I become a 5-year-old.
Twins.
I don't know how to do it.
Twin toddlers. We don't know. Yeah. I didn't even record my audio last time.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on.
You know what? It worked out. Thank God between the two of us. One of us did, because who knows?
I know. You were on top of that one. But yes, this all goes back to the same stuff we always talk about. You really do manifest the things you want. And you know what, Taylor Swift? Look at what happened to her too. That girl worked hard since she was a damn teenager. She wanted something. She went after it with more conviction and
focus,
just guts. Yeah. And focus and energy and bravery, honestly. And she freaking slayed so hard to the point where she's up on a stage receiving an award that she so deserved. And look what happened there. Kanye West came and tried to strip that from her. And look at where he is now. And look at where she is now.
Well, also, that was a great example of how we always think, I can't imagine how devastated she was in that moment. But that was actually the first thing that brought the world attention on her. She was already having a big career, but that, those little things that happened that all of a sudden, who's this girl? Who's this girl that Kanye West took the trophy from?
And she handled it well.
She handled it very well, but also it was the biggest leap her career took.
Yeah.
Now, she then had the platform and put the right music out and did right by people. But it's those moments that you go, what is the perception here? Because this was pretty awesome for her.
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible for her. And in a moment where somebody's trying to take her light, and it just resulted in her shining more, and then for her, it probably, I mean, if I was her, it probably would have been difficult for me to swallow this bullshit happened to me. And now, but she's still, obviously she got a spotlight, but she's still working so hard. She's still grinding it out. She's still fighting for it. Kanye West just went married a Kardashian. He's like king of the world. Da 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 da. It's, if I was her, I would be like, this is some kind of bullshit, But then look what happens. It's not sustainable. Being negative, being toxic, thinking you know everything. It's not sustainable. But being positive, being hardworking, and just keeping going, that works. And I think that Taylor Swift is a perfect example of that. And she is a role model to our daughters. I love that she addresses her issues about her weight in the past. I love that she's living her best life. I love that she looks healthy and she's beautiful.
She does look healthy.
Yes.
She's not, she's definitely not one that is, she's not overly thin.
No, she's healthy.
I love that she looks the way she looks, because my daughter looks at that and is like, this is beautiful.
And says, I don't have to be a bag of bones. Yeah, like I can be healthy, And I know we laugh about the Ozempic stuff, but even you, Shane, like you look healthy. You know what I mean? So it's not like.
I feel good. Thank you.
Yeah, you look great. And like, that's what I'm talking about. Like if somebody's overweight and they're struggling, I get it. Sometimes you need we all need help in life. And if it's some area that you struggle with, you need a little bit of help. Honestly, to me, overeating, people who are overweight, that food, that's just another drug. We talk about sobriety.
100%.
Right?
100%.
That's that is their crutch. That midnight snack, that's what, calms their anxiety a lot and all that. And like, yes, sometimes you need a little assistance with something that you struggle with, and we have all of these things put in place for people from like even that will cover it by our health insurance and whatnot. When you struggle with drugs, when you struggle with alcohol, stuff like that, because we acknowledge that that's a poison and that's something that sometimes people struggle with and need help with. Food is another thing. Somebody's struggling with that and a doctor says, okay, we're going to start you on this thing and it's going to take away that craving, that addiction. If all of these people who wanted to lose weight were alcoholics and they were injecting to stop drinking, we would all be on board with it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But this is another drug.
Just like social media, just like the filters, just like the controlling of the edit. I mean, just like wanting to control something. It's the same thing, loss of control when it comes to drinking, when it comes to eating. And you do need help. I mean, that's the thing is like sometimes you just need some help. And I think that people that want to judge that really need to check themselves because it really says a lot about them. And speaking of that, I feel like we've gone on and we've really proved to the world that we are the smartest people. And that
clearly,
I think today we definitely have shown that
we know everything.
We're the smartest. Somebody's making noise outside my window and I apologize, but
they're probably just there to give you your award for being the best ever.
And I love awards. And honestly, if it just said best ever, that would make me really happy. Oh my God, this guy's using like a leaf blower right outside my window. He's just looking at me.
Tell him to subscribe to Orange Country.
I should. And everyone listening should as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Signing off.
Thanks.